Hey there, thanks for taking the time. Barry Reed, Mason Spinal Injury Center. Just had a patient a few minutes ago who was involved in a motor vehicle accident. And she came in saying, "Doc, I must have slept on it wrong last night because it really hurts a lot worse today than it did yesterday." So I said, "Well, what did you do last night?" She said, "Well, it was hurting so bad after she's a student and she's working also. So she had a taxing day yesterday. She gets home and she lays on a heating pad." One of these contraptions, which is fine if you do it for a very short period of time. But usually what happens is that the muscles relax a little bit. And although you can't feel it at the time you're using the heating pad, the inflammation that is caused by the damage to the joints and the other soft tissues, while you have the heating pad on, feels great and lets your muscles relax. But what happens the next day is that inflammation that's in there already before you put the heating pad on gets bigger and a little bit bigger, especially if you lay on it 20, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. It'll get so bad that the next day, even though you don't feel it when you're on the heating pad, the next day you can barely move. So for those of you keeping score at home, whenever you jam your finger or you may sprain your ankle, any reputable source will say to use this, which is an ice pack, for the first few days. I suggest using it until the inflammation process has been completed. A couple of weeks usually, especially with the neck, especially with whiplash, especially with your back. Use it for 15 or 20 minutes. And in this time of year, when it's cold outside, nobody wants to use an ice pack. But when you use heat instead of ice, even though it feels good while you have it on there, the next day you're going to think, "I must have slept on it wrong." So, ice pack after an injury for especially first 2 days, but I would suggest that doing it for the first couple of weeks, maybe even a month, depending on how bad your injury is after something is hurt. So, the point of this video is, if you're using a heating pad or some source of heat for longer than 5 minutes, and the next day it's worse, then you can almost bet that there's some inflammation in the area where it hurts. And if there is, and if something's out of position or compressed, then we may be able to help you. As always, thanks again for taking the time, and we're ready when you are. Give us a call today. Free consultations. Mason Spinal Injury Center. Thanks again.